Yo, guys, we gotta take a moment of silence for the bulls out there that got liquidated because this was unbelievable. It was unprecedented. This is the largest liquidation event in history and also in Caspa's history as well. What happened? It was basically just another Luna 2.0. I'm going to break it down of what exactly happened and how does Kaspa look moving forward. So here we go. Already we see this is the largest liquidation event in Kaspa's history. Not just Kaspa's history, but entire crypto history. Here, and just within minutes, $6.5 million. And this is just, that doesn't track all the exchanges, by the way. This tracks on like Bybit, I forget all the exchanges, but this only tracks a portion of them, of the liquidations on Kaspa. We see here it went up to like $6.3 million liquidated, largest liquidation, and it's not just in a single day, not just in 12 hours, but in minutes. So this is just unbelievable. And this Dr. Martin here, he breaks it down pretty well that what happened was a result of Binance. And everything, of course, stems to Binance. Of course, it stems to Binance, the market manipulators themselves. Largest scam in crypto, literally. Monitoring the situation. Yeah, hecking right. Binance dumped millions, liquidating longs, whether you want to say it was orchestrated, which it likely was, or was it just a result of someone taking advantage of, let's say, like some sort of glitch or exploit. Here, Dr. Martin, I mean, you'll never know. The thing is, it originated with Binance. Issues stemmed from assets like USDEW with a wrapped version of Binance's Ethereum, wrapped version of Binance's Solana. These assets were used as collateral on Binance, and while the external data, the price of these assets were not reliable. It goes into this Oracle system, and that's why Elliot here, he's bringing that decentralized Oracle to Kaspa with the multi-leader consensus, with the block DAG architecture. It's the only Oracle system that you could possibly have in crypto that is decentralized. Chainlink, not even decentralized. So here it says urgent need of Chainlink, but we need something better. We need Kaspa, because here we go with a large part happened because it just centralized, using a centralized entity in the single point of failure. So Binance's own volatile spot market, not reliable external data. When the market dropped, these collateralized assets plummeted. So this stablecoin that got depegged. And once it gets depegged, say for every dollar, now it's 65 cents to the dollar. So now all the assets that were used as collateral, so now it's like 65 to 100, or let's just do the quick math right here. That's literally 53% lower threshold of getting liquidated. So these liquidations, it's just a death spiral. One liquidation after the next caused even further depegging, these assets to literally just plummet in free fall. So it stemmed from Binance, and of course Binance is the largest exchange in crypto. Everything comes from Binance, like market makers, so much like stems from there. A lot of assets. I mean, they manage everything, honestly, like the whole crypto market. So when you look at that and you start to realize, wait a second, like everything is dumping. So now you have Binance working with Wintermute, and you see Wintermute here, these wallets here. I mean, like, so whether it was a result of Binance, did they do on purpose? Were they hunting these, were they hunting down liquidations? Were they hunting down these stop losses that couldn't even register? Possibly, who knows? But at the end of the day, it was an event very similar to Luna 2.0, with the Terra, the depegging of that stablecoin, FTX even. They were doing things they shouldn't be doing. And you have these stablecoins, like they say they're stable, but at the end of the day, like, what is actually backing it? Is it backed by some sort of mathematical algorithm? Is it backed by a centralized exchange giving false information, that spot prices that could be manipulated in certain ways, exploited? Because literally Binance gave an announcement of a fix for this exploit. Why would they announce the exploit and not have it fixed? So they said, okay, guys, we got a fix for this exploit, and now we're going to implement the fix. But there was a window of time in between the announcement of the fix and its actual implementation where this attack was timed, and this attack happened apparently, resulting in estimated losses between 500 million and 1 billion. Yeah, hecking right, it's just that. These losses, I mean, Binance can't even total up the total liquidations that happen, because they only could record them at 1 liquidation per second. Like, their data systems can only record so much at such speeds. So the results, it's worse than anyone could possibly estimate. So I don't know what's the high end of the total damages, but like literally, okay, the short is in, dad. Now post that China thing. Let's kick off the black swan. Oh my God. Today, it was near 20 billion liquidations. And that's, again, that's like the low end. That's just what we know. What it probably is much closer to 100 billion. And see, COVID crashed, FTX crashed. What happened after every single one? We got a beautiful pump. This was the start. This allows the bull markets to begin. This wick goes all the way down. It clears the books. It's a royal flush. So now there's no leverage longs. Well, this is a beautiful scenario for market makers, for exchanges, because they got in cheap. And retail, unfortunately, of course, took the blunt end of it. I mean, we see here, Kaspa was the largest to dump of the entire top 100. I mean, I think this is top 100 here, at least. I mean, this is a lot of random coins in here. Basically, the top 100, largest dump, but also the largest rebound. So what does this tell you? It tells you that Kaspa doesn't have so much liquidity, but also it's the most easily manipulated. So it had the largest dump, lowest liquidity. It was able to dump so low. Lowest went even below 1 cent. So these numbers should increase, both of them. The rebound, even larger, largest of every single one. So that tells you that it's in most high demand of any other. Because if there wasn't such high demand in Kaspa, it wouldn't have rebounded. It would have been a dead. It would have been a dead coin. It would have looked like all these other junk poop coins out there from venture capitals that provide no technological value. It would have looked like those charts. But no, we bounced back. The largest bounce back, and it's increasing. Look, already at 6.1 cent. So the people that are able to get some cheap crypto, I mean, the exchange basically opened up at around 5 cents. So the people that got in that down at 1 cent, like, dang, man, you're lucky, because that was basically just Qcoin is what I'm seeing. People that were able to buy on Qcoin. So mostly, like Dark Lord, for example, he already had like some positions on Qcoin. He was following some other coins out there. He sold them fast when he noticed Kaspa depegging the largest amount, and he swapped them to Kaspa, acquiring 1 million at exactly 1 cent. Dark Lord, absolute legend of a sniper. So here we go. I'm still bullish. Why am I still bullish? Because I already explained that cheap prices, the wick got filled. And now we check out charts. Look at this. The MACD is already, it turned from that bearish candle to now something more balanced, more moderate. So this bounce, this recovery was huge. This is exactly what we needed, and this is what I was looking for. Beautiful to see, but still we're going to need some time. Okay, so don't just hop on those leverage longs already. I mean, who knows what's going to happen exactly, because it's going to need some time, some weeks, a month maybe, because this right here, it needs to, here, let's take a look at like Bitcoin or something. Like, I don't know, like, all right, take a look at this. It looks good on the daily. Check the weekly, check stuff like this. And it's hard to predict exactly, but look at Kaspa on this is on the weekly chart, okay? This needs to come down. This type of indicator needs to drop all the way down. The fact that it dropped all the way low, like this is already priced in. This bearish signal here, this top formation, already priced in. We already hit down to 1 cent. It's not going to hit down to 1 cent again. So this type of formation needs to essentially form a little bit of a valley. Forms a valley, and that's going to be bullish. So basically what that means is there's going to need to be some consolidation here. So I don't expect like an immediate bounce back. But look, we're still within this bullish triangle. Okay, the price literally like capitulated downward. Usually when we want to see like a bullish breakout, but that was a bearish breakout. It's not a result of Kaspa, it's a result of centralized manipulation stemming from Binance itself. Oh, who other than, the people that started, that likely shorted Kaspa from all the way up here after listing Kaspa on futures, literally 2 days after it peaked. Kaspa peaked, and it's been in a complete bear cycle, bear market, the first major bear cycle for Kaspa ever since 2 days after it got listed on Binance futures. Not a coincidence. Again, this type of deal here, what happened with the whole market, I'm going to tell you right now, not a coincidence. A person that shorted the market like 1 minute, up to 1 minute before Trump's announcement, not a coincidence. So, who knows about those theories and all. But at the end of the day, still, the bounce back has Kaspa back inside this window. Very good to see. And I really do expect it to continue to consolidate. And all the way up, look, it goes all the way up to 2026, this type of triangular consolidation zone. So again, I really do expect a very bullish 2026 for Kaspa and for these lower mid cap altcoins. When I compared render to Kaspa here in the chart, like I do like the comparison because, okay, technologically speaking, there's literally no comparison. but price-wise, there's very much a similarity at how they move. Render having the largest gains, Caspa the second largest, but and we checked that chart I already showed you earlier. See, Kaspa has the largest gains from the bottom. Render, I don't know where it exactly is. Maybe it's not tracked here, but yeah, huge rebound. So comparing Kaspa's chart to Render is very much a valid comparison. And we see here now, moving Kaspa to the monthly time frame, look at the MACD. It's looking exactly like Render's. We don't have this whole price history for Kaspa because we wasn't trading as long as Render. But again, the MACD similarities very comparable. Okay, so these two are trading similarly. Kaspa is a layer 1 block DAG that can literally, Render can migrate on top of to take advantage of the speed, scalability, and security offered by none other than Kaspa. You can't get higher speeds, higher security, higher decentralization than what Kaspa fundamentally offers. So of course, down the line, I do expect a lot of migrations to happen to Kaspa as it becomes a hub for crypto. But until then, okay, Render is trading like basically under Ethereum. They got their GPU networks and all. It's fine. It's fine. But technologically speaking, Kaspa has the massive room to grow. Yeah, technically, if it doesn't get adopted, it's considered more risky. But of course, it's the best technology is getting adopted long term, especially when Bitcoin can't provide a security budget that is sustainable the next 7 to 8 years. Kaspa is built to last. The security of the proof of work blockchain relies on transactions down the road long term because the emission schedule is not infinite. On proof of stake, it's literally infinite inflation of the coin that secures the network through staking. So that's a very bad, it's just a bad model. And there's and with proof of stake, you will never be able to implement Dagnite and other technologies within Kaspa. Like, for example, the Oracle that Elliot has been basically teasing and what he's been researching with Jonathan Tompolinski, you can't get that on proof of stake. So there's all these different technologies that it's impossible on proof of stake, as well as, proof of stake could never get as good of security as proof of work. Proof of stake can never get as fast or as decentralized as proof of work through Kaspa, with what Kaspa's been doing. So anyways, that aside, looking at Kaspa, huge room to grow. And again, we had to say rest in peace to the bulls out there that literally lost everything. Okay, so many people lost. And you're like, all right, so who made the money? Well, market makers made the money, exchanges for winning from the liquidations, retail lost big. And I'm just gonna do a shout out to Christian, what's his full name? Christian Ludwig. Okay, so that guy, he's a behemoth in the ecosystem of Kaspa, and of course he got hit bad. He was really in Kraken using a lot of collateral and all that. So you just really had to take these losses, take it from our experience and just learn from it. Okay, these type of events, they're black swan events, but they're just like the event, like an exchange getting hacked. You can never predict that your assets are always going to be safe when you're on an exchange if you're using leverage, because you're literally giving your money away to whatever the centralized platform to manage it. Even using something like Hyperliquid, or eventually when Kaspa gets its own lending protocols, again, Kaspa is still linked to the broader market. Kaspa is still linked to Binance in its own way. Look, all these liquidations stem from Binance. So these fluctuations, this volatility really opens your eyes to what's the worst, what could happen. Yeah, we could have an instant pump straight to $1. All it takes is Michael Saylor to do one tweet or Trump to say one thing, and then the pump is extraordinary. Likewise, all it takes is one little mess up for the price to go down to 1 cent, something that you could never imagine. So you always have to keep that in mind, that if you're going to be putting collateral, even if it's just 10% collateral of you have all your assets, you only have 10% of it on collateral, that is even something you have to know that, okay, that is a major risk and liability. You should never, ever, in my honest opinion, touch leverage. Let leverage touch your entire position. If you're going to use leverage, keep it small and keep it very compartmentalized. Don't risk your assets, all right? Keep it as if something very degen. If you want to play around with it, I don't suggest doing that. If you want to play around, just go to Nacho. Honestly, the leading meme coin on Kaspa, what's going to happen, it's going to be trading like bonk like Shiba Inu and all that. This is the play. This is literally the play. Here we go. Basically following Kaspa to the dot. It's a little bit at a low right now. I mean, understandable. Basically, these meme coins, they trade as the leverage. If Kaspa rises, the meme coins rise more. If Kaspa falls, the meme coins fall more. But it's trading very similarly, almost very stabilized for literally like an entire year now. So this is just, as Kaspa grows, of course the ecosystem is going to grow with it. And that's my leverage play. It's very safe, in my opinion, extremely safe. The whole environment of Nacho with how they're run, very decentralized. The team all doxed. Literally how it operates is in a very decentralized way. Especially, they're going to move forward with a DAO run through the CAT Foundation, which is going to run like all their investment projects. They're going to build out more development and basically create more revenue streams for the holders. That's what they did with Moonbound, their partnership with Zealous, and all of that, okay, with Cat Pool, and all this stems from the development of the Nacho team, which is extending now to the Cat Foundation, which hosted the whole Caspa experience in Berlin. So that's what Nacho's all about, okay? They're really building out there. They've really built a community and a name for themselves. Honestly, gotta love it. So that's what's up with Kaspa, and it's just crazy what's been going on. Let me take a look through some of these bookmarks here. This is a really good article I'm going to go into another video about, basically the fee model, the budget, security budget by Lynn Alden. I mean, she's like really a known person in the Bitcoin ecosystem, Bitcoin community. She has featured in a lot of different places, and she basically talks about how you really need that like 1% of the security budget, especially long term in Bitcoin. It's not looking good for it long term. She lays it out. She lays out the risks of it and how there's some like speculation, and they're going to have to see how Bitcoin operates, putting a lot of reliance on the L2 ecosystem for Bitcoin. She's even stated Lightning, and how that is not even going to work because the transactions on Lightning do not fund the miners, the Bitcoin miners. So to maintain a 1% security budget for Bitcoin, basically having 1% of the total market cap of Bitcoin going to the hashing rate, the hashing power, it's just not viable long term, and therefore the growth of the security and the growth of the entire network of Bitcoin, especially past 7 years, 8 years after like 2 halvings, especially 8 years from now, it's not looking that good, and that's where Kaspa comes into play. This is another really good example of this is what happened. Look back in the day with a Link, like it went to literal zero on Binance. Who could have done it? Well, none other than Binance. Binance is the top of the top, the cream of the cream. How do they get there? By being a bad actor. Okay, that's how these billionaires become billionaires, because they do things that they take advantage of other people. So they took advantage and they manipulated. They literally liquidated every single bull in Chainlink back in the day. What is this? I don't even know what year this is. Oh yeah, 2020. Okay, and that put Link literally down to the zero mark. I don't even know, 0.00 maybe 1. And now it's trading at what, like 30? I don't even know what Link is trading at anymore. But like, that's just unbelievable. And you have to realize this happens to many projects in the early days during extreme market conditions. So the fact that it going down 88% in one day in just a span of minutes, it's hard to believe. And a lot of people got wrecked, wiped clean. This happens usually over 4 years. So this type of event, look what happens following. This doesn't just happen with this type of black swan event. It happened with COVID. It happened with the previous crash of caused by Luna, caused by FTX, that collapse of that every single time. So Solana was trading at what, like a few dollars, $10, $5, I don't know, during the FTX collapse. And now look at it, $200 plus. It's just wild. What is it? I don't even know what Solana's trading at. But like, that's what happens. Once this wick gets filled, people, the institutions, the big players, they accumulate. That whole wick is where they accumulate. And that's where the leverage long gets wiped out. It's clean slate for the exchanges to pump up the price and not have to pay out, because the exchanges, they don't like paying out people that leverage a ton of money. They go 100x and they have to pay out 100x on that position. They don't like doing that, of course. So having this type of thing to flush out the longs and have the leverage positions very low and majority of the larger positions completely wiped out, that's a very bullish sign for a bull market. Is because who controls the bull markets? Who controls everything? The big money, the centralized exchanges, the market makers. So stay bullish, my friends. Okay, this type of pump is coming. Give it some time. I'm thinking 2026 is going to be the year for Kaspa. All right, if it's not that, keep looking forward. Okay, the development is going to take some time for adoption, for eyes to turn, but eyes will turn. You cannot ignore it. Once Kaspa reaches the end game of its technological development, once Dagnite releases with vProgs, everything running on the L1, that's literally everything crypto could ever want. The upgrade of Solana, upgrade of Bitcoin, upgrade of Ethereum, like you can't get better than that. Literally, it's gonna become like a FOMO. All it takes is one developer, one D app, one project to migrate over, to port over to the Kaspa L1, and then they're gonna all fight for competition. Otherwise, the projects are gonna be built natively on Kaspa, and they're gonna have to fight the competition like that from the people that the builders filling up the gaps from within Kaspa. Yeah, biggest scam in history. So that basically, I think that covers it. I'm going to go into a video with nodes. I'm going to set up the node here on this home PC to show how doable it is and how every single Caspian should make it a goal. Their goal to run a node at their home or whatever, whether it's on their home PC or if it's on a separate device. Of course, it's recommended to run it on a separate device so you could keep that running 24/7 and having no issues in terms of like you don't need some massive gaming PC or whatever like that. No, you just keep it on like $100, $250 little computer machine that runs 24/7, and there you go, your own local public node that's out there that further decentralized the Kaspa block tag. So that's what's up. Again, big like you get big rest in peace, and like really do respect everything Christian's been doing. For him to get liquidated, I mean, he's already down. He was already down at 13 million Kaspa from 77 million. I remember he was trading. He was holding something close to like 100 million Kaspa. Now down to 13 million, and now after this event, probably fully wiped. He was really having a lot of collateral on Kraken, and it's just like it breaks my soul. I've been there. I've done that. I got fully wiped in the stock market back in I don't even know what year, 2019, something like that. I got fully wiped using options and stuff I shouldn't have been doing. And it's crazy because my bet was actually correct. I just got, my emotions came into play, and if I held my position, I would have been right and I would have made like a whole ton of money. But I got so scared. The market makers, that's what they do. They play on emotion. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't leverage. You don't borrow money you don't have. Once you do that, you're at major extreme risk, and that's why you should never really put money there. Buy it to hold it, put it into cold storage, and just leave and just forget about it. If you can do it, just forget about it. That's the best way forward. So it's just a big rip, and so fortunately he has his mining company, and he's investments in the ecosystem, and of course he's going to bounce back. It happens to everyone. Even before the moment I learned about Kaspa, like when I first learned about Kaspa, I was in the middle of a scam. I was getting scammed, and I lost all my money. So like I couldn't even buy big into Kaspa when I first learned about it back late 2022. It really hurt. But again, bounce back. You stay strong and you keep moving forward one step at a time, and you'll bounce back. So that's what's up. So if you really lost a lot of money, hang in there, and the future is looking bright because now the bottom is in, and we're going to move upward. Kaspa and the whole crypto market. Of course, Kaspa is going to become a leader down the line. It's inevitable. Keep your conviction. Know what you're holding. Keep studying to gain further conviction. This is the dawn of a new era. Kaspa bull cycle is next. That's a fact. The Bitcoin maxis, they're going to keep FUDing out of absolute fear. Mentioning Kaspa like it's a celebrity, like it's right behind their, like it's right behind Bitcoin chasing after them. Like they need to like stomp down the FUD. They have to stomp it down early. It's so funny. This guy Swan, because Swan is literally they only manage Bitcoin only services. So it's so funny. They're trying to stomp down on Kaspa, calling it a scam. First affinity scam. First two words, calling it a scam. Unbelievable, just based on price. And he's gonna, let's see when he gives an update when Kaspa flips Bitcoin in terms of like this type of chart here. It once it reaches like 50%, 100%, 200% gains over Bitcoin in the next year, then let's see what he says. Let's see what he says. Let's see nice update from him, because you got to do your own research, or you're going to wait for a CEO to inform you. And when they inform you, of course, it's going to be already too late, way too late. You don't want to wait for a swan to be there to allow custodial, not non-custodial control of your assets. Use our website and we'll manage your Caspa for you, because we don't believe in self-custody. We like managing everything, and we take a lot of fees from you. That's Swan. Yeah, invest in us. Nah, not a chance. I'll never be using Swan. I actually used it once, but I'll never use it just because of this type of thing from the CEO. It's just not professional. He didn't do a single 1 second of research. You could already tell he didn't do any research by calling it a scam flat out. Or if he did do his research, he's terrified of what can happen long term with Kaspa. So you already know what's up. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.